Let's dive into the discussions shaping the nation.
Garmil Magan the Lascan Corla, and thank you to Deputy Coppinger for bringing this and setting it out so clearly in the motion, and to the visitors in the gallery. And I welcome that the Minister is not, and best of luck to you in your new role. And I welcome that you're not opposing the motion, but often that's the death knell. But I'll give you the benefit of the doubt in relation to it, that it's not the death knell, and you will take this matter seriously. And I hear you're committed to bringing in the register and changing the law. And I've only a short time, 5 minutes I think, so I won't go into it. I welcome what you're saying, and I think you have to deliver on that. And I say that in the context of 1974, a groundbreaking book, Scream Quietly or the Neighbours Will Hear, 1974 in Chiswick, London, and Chiswick Women's Aid, 50-something years ago, Scream Quietly or the Neighbours Will Hear. Fast forward 49 years later, the Royal College of Surgeons, hidden in plain sight, domestic violence and gender-based violence. And so, forgive me if I'm sceptical, because as Deputy Coppinger has said, we've listened to the news this morning with what seems another murder, another woman in her 80s. And so we're here, and since I came in 2016, along with all my colleagues on this side of the House and with some of the backbenchers, we've repeatedly spoken on the failure to deal with domestic violence and gender-based violence. And actually, I'm most uncomfortable with the word domestic. I think it reduces the importance, the seriousness and the significance of criminal activity. So I would like to get rid of the word domestic and treat violence for what it is. I'm also unhappy with the words like epidemic and pandemic. This is not an epidemic. These are serious crimes being committed by the most part by men. And so over the last number of years since 16, we fought and pushed the government. So my worry is there's been no proactive action on behalf of the government. It's all been reactive, pushed from the opposition, and we've been pushed from the organisations on the ground. Women's Aid in particular this week have come out, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But we've been pushed to push the government. And so you did produce a number of reports, finally, before you got the zero strategy. And what you produced was, the TUSLA produced an audit of refuge services, completely inadequate. And then the department did a review of the structures and services there. And what did they say? They said there was an absence of data, an absence of funding, fragmentation, gaps, deficits. That was 21 or 22. So 1974, Scream Quietly or the Neighbours Will Hear, and fast forward to a report telling us lack of data, lack of funding, deficits and gaps completely. And all of the time the numbers for violence increasing and increasing, and the world becoming a more unsafe place for women and families becoming for. And the figure you referred, Minister, unfortunately, you said unfortunately most of it is within families, and absolutely, it's shocking the figure. 63% of women were killed in their own home, 53% were killed by a partner or ex-partner, and almost 9 out of 10 women know their killer. And so my difficulty when we have debates like this, and I'm really appreciative that Deputy Coppinger has used her time, is we're talking. I've been talking since 2016. I'm very familiar with the services on the ground. Back in 2002, Savvy produced the groundbreaking report, Sexual Assault and Violence in Ireland. We utterly ignored it. The prevalence of violence against women was clearly set out. And then you fast forward to the Royal College of Surgeons that's telling you it's hidden in plain sight. So then we begin to ask ourselves as legislators, what's happening here? What do we mean when we say we want a zero tolerance? And we never rolled out enough refuge. And I say that with caution, because Women's Aid, and I'm somebody who has called for more refuge and will continue to do so. But Women's Aid, Safe Ireland has called on the government to embed a full infrastructural response to domestic abuse at local level, rather than prioritising new refuge spaces. And the CEO said, we are very, very concerned that there will be a focus on refuge building at the expense of the real response to new refuge spaces. More has to be done, and the government must take seriously. So I'm almost out of time. So I do all of that to emphasise it's beyond talking. So refuges are the most basic thing that we can provide, but they should be sort of redundant in the future if we are to seriously tackle and deal with domestic and gender-based violence.
Like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.